Hey everybody, welcome to the Joy Quota podcast. My name is Gavin Malcolm. I'm here without Dylan Fole, unfortunately, for the first time after his departure to Asia to go travel around. So for the first time without Dylan, our guest tonight is Moises Banuelos. This guy is so much fun, local entrepreneur here in the Denver area. This guy travels a ton and has more fun than anyone I know. He has done a ton of work with the Boys and Girls Club and is just incredibly smart, incredibly talented, and a bundle of joy. Enjoy the podcast, you guys. Get into it and have some fun.
Hello, world. We are live here at the Gavin Studios in Denver, Colorado. William Street. Pew, 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 pew. It's your boy, Moises Bañuelos, in the cut for the first time doing the podcast. This is my first time, bro. Thank you for having me.
Dude, it's super fun. I feel like you of all people.
Yeah, this is right up my alley. I feel like I should have done this a while ago, but like this is the joy quota. Like, let's see. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so the joy quota. The joy quota is basically, it just means like everyone takes life so serious, whether it's their finances, whether it's their fitness, whether it's their relationship. It doesn't matter. Like, it's their career, whatever they're doing, they take things super, super serious. But most people forget to take having fun serious and like make sure that you fill your joy quota. Like, I literally picture it like a quota the same way as like if you have sales, like you got to hit a quota. Like if you've got, a quota just means a measurable amount, right? Like it's
right. You're held
data.
accountable by a number, and if you don't do the number, then you feel some type of way.
Exactly. So that's kind of the idea behind the joy quota is like joy is a state of being. You of all people would know this. Like it's more a state of being. So like it has nothing to do with your emotions like in that given second. Like you're a joyful person, but the other night at the Rat Pack Christmas, like you were hella stressed and experiencing a lot of things emotion-wise that most people would probably not associate with joy, but because you make that conscious choice to come back to joy no matter where you're at, that is to me like joy quota or like the difference between joy and happiness and some of the things that other people associate with it.
No, yeah, going through all that stress, but there's a purpose to that stress, and it's so these kids can have like an amazing experience. And I'm stressed out because like if I don't do this, then they're not gonna have this experience. So it's kind of on me. So like at the end of the day, yeah, joy that's what life's all about. At the end of the day, like experiencing that, and a lot of people like it sucks. They really like don't get to experience that on a daily basis, and so like do it like actually like making a conscious decision to like have a quota is great. Like that's so cool to me. Like I need to
like everyone
that.
like counts calories and they check their bank account every day and they do all these things that are wonderful habits, or like you read like 7 habits or whatever, secrets of the millionaire minds, or like 7 habits of highly effective people. Those are all incredible habits, but rarely, if ever, does anyone take the time to like actually enjoy any of that, right? Like that was always where my disconnect with all that stuff was. And so I'm just trying to fill that gap because I've met a lot of people who've done some incredible things, made incredible money, and they're miserable. And that to me is just even worse than like someone who's happy and has nothing, like
oh my god,
like it's because you don't take any of that stuff with you. So it just makes sense to, just focus on joy and to, I don't know, I'm just excited to have you on the podcast because this is weird. This is the first time Dylan hasn't been on the podcast.
Dang, what the heck, Dylan? Where you at? You should be here.
Yeah, he should be here. He's in Bali. He left to go to Bali.
That's awesome. I need to go to
Bali. He's out there finding himself, and just like,
that's a great
getting
place
lost
to find
out
yourself.
in Asia. Yeah, he has like no return flight or anything like that. Like,
is that legal?
He's just out and about. Like he's just
I think
gone. Like he went from Bali he just went to Singapore. Now he's back in Bali, like surfing every day, which is something he's always wanted to do. Is just like find a secluded beach and just surf every day. And yeah, like I think Denver had just kind of lost its appeal to him, and like
The world is so
everyone
big,
here knows
honestly.
him
Yeah.
as someone or something, and the way that he described it is like he wants to go see who he is,
Mm.
where no one has a preconceived notion of
Mm.
Dylan Fole. So
Mm.
I think it's a
That's
worthwhile endeavor,
awesome.
and I hope he finds whatever he's looking for out there.
No, for sure. I would love to see some content. I don't know if he's creating out there, but
Oh yeah, he has his own YouTube channel,
oh
and he
my
does all
god.
sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Dang, I'm gonna have to check it out. Yeah, like when I went to Colombia, like they made us like show them that we had a return
Well, that's
flight.
Colombia. That's so different, dude.
I
Yeah,
don't. Is it like I don't
dude,
know.
that's like drug capital of the world. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, true, but
because
still,
Dylan
like
went through the same thing when he went to Colombia. They were
mm,
like super strict about
everything.
making sure he
Yeah,
had like a return flight and all that.
that's crazy. Yeah, no drugs are getting out of Colombia. Like their airport is locked down. They don't have no TSA. They have like military
Yeah,
in
dude, it's
there. It's
real.
crazy. Yeah, shout
But
out to TSA. They.
that's the first time that anyone on any platform doing any kind of content has ever
Nah, really,
shouted
they
out
have
to
the
the TSI.
shittiest job. Well, not really, but
I,
like,
I know what you mean. Like that would be a perfect place for like a joy quota. You know, like
yeah, let's bring some joy to TSA because they
it's the worst. No one is happy to see them,
mm-mm.
and they're not happy to see anyone
And they have to
else.
say the same thing all the time,
Oh
like
yeah.
all liquids, large electronics,
Oh dude.
shoes off,
And
and
they don't
like
get paid well. Yeah,
belts
it's
off.
like
Yeah, and like
the
I don't know,
gnarliest
they have
job.
to be there super. I don't know. At least
Yeah,
I
because it's
couldn't do that.
24/7.
Yeah,
Most
yeah,
airports
mhm.
or like the major ones are basically 24 hours a day.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
there's like night shifts
Like I
and
appreciate the ones that have good energy when you see them. They're like,
yeah,
"Hey, how you doing?"
because
Like, that's
and that's that. I think that just
people who can do
transforms
that
any
is
kind of work, right? Like it doesn't even have to
exactly.
be
It's like, all
TSA.
right, I'm
Like
already here. Might as well have a great attitude and
yeah,
I don't know, like not because if you're gonna do that for 8 hours a day, might as well have a good time. There's I don't know.
definitely. I mean, do you feel like you always kind of had this mentality? Because I think that you're one of the like few people in our group of like influence or like circle of friends that would compare the two of us as like those guys are always so pumped and positive and like having a good time and like have you always kind of been like this or is that something that you chose to develop?
Dang, I feel like I have like ever since I was at least at the Boys and Girls Club, like always like this as far as uh just trying to bring because I was always like in the leadership position. So when you're in that position, it's kind of like your job to make things fun,
Yeah,
especially
especially at a
like
boys and girls club
yeah,
where like kids probably aren't having a ton of fun at
it,
home.
exactly. And you're like, especially at that point in time, like I was like 16, and there was probably like kids from 14 to like 18, and so like I don't know, at that age, like things stop becoming cool to you. You're more of
Yeah,
like,
nothing is cool when you're a teenager. Everything is like, yeah, whatever. Like someone could literally hand you like a brick of gold and you'd be like, I guess. Like
yeah, exactly. So
so jaded
just
about everything.
trying to like create activities to like break the ice, and I was always that guy to like I have all the games to like just all right, let's do
Yeah.
something.
That
And,
reminds
like,
me, I've got a bunch of Nerf guns I wanted you to
hey,
take back for
that'll
me.
be lit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just trying to like I don't know, just jam pack activities. So like everything I learned at the club when I would go to like other circles of friends with like I'd kind of implement the same stuff, and like, I feel like that energy just kind of like yeah transcends like from
Yeah.
each group of friends.
It's
Yeah.
an important skill to have. Like I remember like very explicitly learning it
Mm.
because I had a hard time making friends
I
for a
went to
long
training
time.
for that. Like they literally had
Yeah.
a boys and girls club because I was a
Oh, that makes
facilitator.
sense.
They're like,
Yeah.
all right, if you're gonna facilitate this group, you need to go to this training, and we're gonna teach you how to like they trained us on all kinds of stuff, how
Yeah.
to like de-escalate situations, how to like run a whole program with kids.
See,
Like,
yeah, that's what I think people don't understand is like it's a learnable skill.
hmm
Joy and like positivity and like that high energy like might seem kind of like manic to people who are a lot more like chill and maybe introverted, but all of the like hard skills of having that confidence to break the ice or whether it's the like the fun finding the fun in anything or the joy quote like the joy side of things where you're like consciously choosing it,
yeah,
that's such a learnable skill that people don't recognize. Like they just see someone who's having a good time and they're like, man, I wish I could be like that, but you can't because it's a learnable skill.
absolutely.
Like I developed it. I was like, oh, this is something that I have and I should like learn how to like have a good time.
Honestly, that's one of the best skills to have because some people they need that push, like or else you just won't get a lot out of them.
Yeah, especially in the Boys and Girls Club. Like most of those kids probably don't want to engage. They probably are like kind of standoffish anyways, because like the last thing they want to do is get invested in anyone who's just going to bail.
Boom.
So
Exactly.
like you got to earn that.
Right.
Yeah, and being able to like just keep digging until you can finally bring someone into the circle is such an important skill. And
Yeah, and like once you do that, like you kind of create a community, and so where they feel welcome to, where they feel open in
yeah,
that space, and so that's kind of one of the like the best things too, like feeling like you're part of something, like you're part of some sort of community, and like I've been in a position where like I wasn't part of that community, and so uh
yeah,
like I know how it feels, and so like when you're able to like once you've been in that position, you know, once you know how that feels, like then once you're in a position to like include others, then like you're absolutely gonna do it, and that definitely brings joy to other people being included and stuff. And so, um,
they say
dang,
that you only learn through the your brain can only tell or your brain can only learn through the perception of a difference.
Hmm.
So like the only reason that you're probably or part of the reason you're so good at making sure that everyone feels included and like bringing people together, I'm willing to bet like you had a pretty grand experience of some kind in the opposite of like feeling excluded
Oh
and on the
yeah.
outside, which is part of what like drives you. Like it is for me. Like I spent so
Mhm.
much time on the outside, like not a part of all the groups and things that I wanted to be a part of.
Yeah.
That now, whenever I'm doing anything, like I can't. It's like in my DNA to try and include as many people as possible.
No, for sure. Spread the love. Spread the love.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Well, I mean, just so people can kind of get to know you a little bit, anyone who doesn't know you, anyways,
Oh snap.
tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
All right. So I'm 23 years young right now. I'm currently, I just graduated school at the University of Denver. So I've been working at that for,
Yeah.
I was on campus for about 3 years. And then I took a year off to work at this oil and gas consulting firm. That was
I
a
had no idea you
crazy,
did that.
the oil and gas industry is crazy.
Yeah.
I hate it, but makes a lot of money.
Got some
Yeah.
serious dollars, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely did. But the stress was not worth it. I don't know if I could go back. But I made an impact for sure in a lot of people's lives as far as like getting them jobs. This was like I was calling like this is where I learned the most. This is kind of like a little
Yeah.
tangent, but I learned so many skills like as far as just like getting your own business. As far as just I had to make at least 100 calls a day, and like
Dang.
hey, I, like just
Yeah, like
base
straight cold calling people
and
for
these
the oil
are
and gas company.
basically trying to get
Wow.
people jobs. So I would say hey.
Oh, you were recruiting.
I was a
Okay. Yeah.
recruiter, yeah. So I would say, how much are they paying you right now? Like, I would literally call the companies and say, hey, let me talk to a mechanic. And then the receptionist would hand me to a mechanic, and I would say, hey, how much are they paying you right now? And they're like, hey, do they know you're calling me? And I'm like, oh no, like,
Nah, man, we're doing this real under the radar.
yeah. I was like, it's totally good. I
How
was
many
like,
buddies you got?
like we're
Yeah.
willing to pay you like a lot. Like tell me the pain points. Like, what sucks about your company? And then I'd like pull that out of them. And I'd be like, all right, look over here. This company's hiring. We're gonna give you like $2 bonus on that. Or like I don't know. Like I'd
Yeah,
make
like
it sound
whatever
really
it
good.
is, you give.
And basically like I got out of it because once I found out that the guy who was running it like had no morals as far as like he saw everyone as like his dollar signs. Like he really
Yeah.
didn't care about these people. Like and these people like these are their lives. Like they're
It's a really hard job.
it's a
Like there's a
shitty
reason it pays
job.
well.
Yeah, because the
It's
turnover is
super
ridiculous.
hard. Yeah.
They're working away from their families. Like the schedules
Crazy
that we were working was
hours.
like a 14 and 7, so like 2
Yeah.
weeks on, 1 week off. That sucks. Oh
And
my
it's like
gosh.
aggressive. The 2 weeks that you're
And you
on
sleep
is
in
like 14
trucks,
hour
and you have to.
days. Yeah.
Sometimes they'd have to pay for their hotels. Like the
Yeah.
company would cover them. Like
You got to work super hard. Because I thought about taking like 6 months one summer and just like,
oh man,
it was before I met Allie and like had like a really legit reason to stay at home. But I was always too much of like a friends and family person to do it anyways. But like,
Mm-mm.
I've always thought like if I could suck it up for like
Yeah.
6 months.
No, shout out to them because they
Yeah.
do make money.
Yeah,
Like
dude, it's crazy money. Yeah.
when I was recruiting them, like Yeah, I even like was shocked about the numbers when like I would tell him I'd be like, yeah, like you can make upwards of like almost 3,000 a week. I'm like,
Yeah,
wait, holy crap, like 3,000, like
it's
that's a lot.
crazy.
Like, but you also are away from your family. You are, I don't know. There's pros and cons, but so I did that for a little bit, got tired of it, went back to school. I figured I was like, you know, what am I doing with my life? I need to finish my
Especially
degree.
after 3 years. Yeah, like
Yeah,
you're so close.
exactly. I had all these people telling me like, you need to go back, you need to go back. So I went back, finished, and now I'm doing full time videos. So that's
Yeah.
been a 180. I
Is that what you went to school for at all, or is it
no,
just something that you've kind of
that's something
found a
I've done.
passion for?
I've done for a long time, like a long time. Like I remember people asking me to make videos for them. Like, it started off like just little projects. Like, hey, we have this event. Like the first one was that I like remember someone like asked me was, hey, this guy, like imagine Julio leaving,
Okay,
um,
yeah.
someone like in his position. So
For
like,
those of you who don't know, that's the
oh
director
shoot,
of the Boys and Girls Club of like the Cope Boys and Girls Club right now.
yeah. So basically, the director at that time he was leaving, and that was the guy before Julio.
Yeah.
And so they like had given me all these pictures from all the years, and like they gave me a song and like made me like kind of put it together. And I
Little
was like,
slideshow,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly, a slideshow.
I will remember you.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
no, it was End of the Road.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and then at the beginning, it was all pictures of him, and so someone was like, "Did he die or something?" I was like, "No, no, no. He's just like he's moving on."
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, you need to put pictures of like the kids and stuff because like they're gonna people if you see this, they're gonna think that he passed away or something."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh no, no, no." So
That's
that's just funny.
hilarious.
So little.
No, he
Like,
didn't die, I swear.
like you learn things every single time you
Yeah.
make them. So started from that one, and then it started getting bigger to like, well, I actually made a lot of videos for people who passed away. Like they were just awesome because
Yeah.
just I'd be that guy like, hey, Moses, can you make me this video? Like, oh, I don't know. I made probably like 8 or 9 of those, which
Yeah.
is sad. Like just for,
But it is kind of a beautiful thing too, like
yeah,
to
seeing that,
get to
yeah,
actually look back on, especially strangers.
right,
Like my
yeah,
dad told me a long time ago, like every now and again, like pick up a paper and read the obituaries and like take a look at like other people's lives that you never interacted with in any
yeah,
way, because you never know
mm,
how their story or how their little journey is actually
yeah,
going to affect you, or like always make it to funerals and wakes, because you'll always get to see like the impact that someone made, and it'll kind of push you in your own life to make more of an impact.
yeah.
Like just the natural instinct inside you will be like, oh, I need to do more, and you'll push yourself.
Honestly, funerals are so sad, man. But yeah, going back to that, like, and then so like graduation stuff, like
Yeah,
slideshows,
exactly.
things like that, and then it started moving to like little skits, and then like music videos, and
Yeah.
then like,
Do I know any of the people you've made music videos for?
I don't know if you know my cousin Jesse. Like
Yeah, yeah,
I made some for him, but like recently I just did one for this artist named The Ape. Like he's pretty dope.
yeah.
But I'm gonna make one actually on Sunday for this other guy. But
Nice.
all that's under wraps for about to release in 2020. So we'll
That's
see.
what's up. Keep a lookout.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I have a lot of content cooking. So basically, yeah, for the past, I would say 5 years, I've been traveling with the dopest travel club in the world.
Shout out.
Amazing, amazing experiences. Been able to go. Really, honestly, like I, honest to God, would never thought I'd have gone to the other places that I've gone, especially like
Yeah.
this young. Like I went to Egypt, to like Cairo and Sharm el Sheikh, which is like at the tip of the Red Sea, right by like Saudi Arabia, like the most beautiful. Like I don't know, I've never been to a place so beautiful. Like Egypt is so like
I've always
ancient
wanted to
and like
go.
you just feel like I cried when I see the pyramids. I don't know, like it was so like
It's
it's so
insane to
it was
think that people
crazy.
built that, because
They
they're huge.
they're
Like
huge.
whatever size you think they are, like
Holy
double it. They're
crap,
so
they're
big.
huge. And I was able to climb them. Like,
Yeah.
like there's a sign that said don't like no climbing. But my tour guide, he's like, yeah, go ahead. Like, I was like,
Did you
okay.
climb all the way to the top?
No, no, you. I don't know if you cut. No, that's a long climb, bro.
I know that. I was like, dang.
Nah, I got like probably like 4 or 5 little levels up.
Yeah.
But I went to Beijing. That was a crazy experience. Hit up the Great Wall.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
legit. Peru. has been awesome. I've been able to do like Mexico, like probably like almost 10 times, like
I know, it's
between
so
all of
funny.
them. Like,
So that's how Moises and I met, was through this travel club, and every single time I'm like, oh, I should take a trip. It always ends up that someone's getting married, and I end up going to Mexico for a wedding. I'm like, I just need to go anywhere before like
you go back
halfway
to
through the
Mexico.
year, just so I can
Yeah,
like sneak in one actual trip
that
that
is
isn't
so
just like a
funny.
Mexico wedding.
Yo, I mean, Mexico is
But shout
fun.
out to
Don't get me
Mexico. Yeah,
wrong.
they're
I
the best.
love Mexico. That's my motherland. You know,
Yeah.
Cabo, Mexico City,
Oh, it's so
Cancun,
wonderful down there.
beautiful, beautiful beaches. But uh, honestly, I had a lot of fun in Colombia too. Not gonna lie. Like,
Dylan loved his trip to
I
Colombia.
need to go back. Their food is great. Peru's food is top notch, top tier, like number
Really?
one. I've probably never had any food like that in my life.
Are you pretty
Take me back.
adventurous eater?
Yeah, I'll try whatever.
Oh,
Like at least once, just to try. Like if other people are eating it, come on, you can't be childish. But
I will be childish. I'm such a picky eater. I'm getting better.
really,
Yeah, I'm getting a lot better
no,
as I like
you
get
gotta
older. But
try it
yeah,
at
as a
least,
kid,
and
I
then you
just
can have an
never
opinion once you
ate
try it.
anything other than
Like
like
I hate
hamburger
olives,
helper.
mushrooms.
Yeah.
Hate them. Like I had an olive martini, I almost threw up. Like I was
Dang.
chilling
How
with
did
some
you end
people
up with
from.
an olive martini?
I was chilling I don't even know what country I was in. I was probably in the Dominican Republic,
Yeah.
and there was these people from Texas. They were wearing their rings because they had just graduated,
Oh, nice.
and they're like, "Yeah, let's get some martinis going around." So like the
Oh,
guy,
someone like brought you a drink, and you're like, "Oh, thank you,"
yeah,
and
there was
then
like
it's
I was just
just
sitting by them, and
yeah.
they're like, "Hey, bro," like I was talking to them earlier, so like he had ordered them for all of us, and then yeah, like I don't know why I decided to chug it, but like
You actually
I
tried
chugged
to.
that. Like I immediately regretted it. I was like, I found myself almost throw up, and I was so
Yeah.
embarrassed. I was like, oh. So I
Oh
don't even know
man,
what happened. I like put
that's
the glass
hilarious.
down, and
Uh,
I was already pretty intoxicated at that
yeah, I
point.
mean, you've been, I'm
Like
sure, at the
even
bar
before
because the
that,
DR. I'm sure you were there
oh
like an all inclusive, so
Jesus,
you're just
yes,
getting
yeah,
schmammered.
smammered, and just trying to keep up with them, and
Yeah.
like I seen that they didn't slam it, so I was like, oh, I messed up. Like they're
Well, yeah, because
they're
a martini is just a shot. It's
yeah.
just like a chilled shot.
And no, but it had an olive in it, and that's what messed me up. And like I
Yeah.
really hate olives. So.
Oh, I feel you, dude.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I mean, I feel like you've gotten to travel a lot. You've gotten to see a lot of different cultures and
Mm.
places. Where do you feel the most like at home? Like I remember when I
Oh.
traveled to Australia, like
Mm.
the second I got off the plane, I was just like, I'm home. Here I am. Like this is the
Really?
best. Yeah, I would just like I meet people to this day who are from Australia who are like,
I'll
"Oh, were
say
you like born
I
there?" And I'm
might.
like, "No." And they're like, "You sure though?" I'm like, "No, I swear." Like, yeah.
I swear. That's funny. No, I feel like I mean, hands down Mexico. I mean, that's where my roots are from. So like I go back every now and then. I actually went back for a funeral for my grandpa's funeral, and like I felt so at home. Like my mom has a house down there, so like it feels so right. Like if my mom didn't come
Yeah.
here 5 years ago, like we would be living there with all
Yeah.
my cousins and living that lifestyle. And like, shout out
It's
to them. Like they live their joy quota is dope. Like I felt so dumb going there and complaining. I was like,
yeah.
I was and I was complaining not to everybody. It was probably like 6 or 7 people at the table, and I was like, yeah, like I had to quit this job that I was complaining about, the oil and gas
Yeah.
job. I was like, yeah, I had to wake up at like I was like, I had to be there at like 7, and then get out, like by like 6 o'clock. And then by the time I get home, it's like 7,
Yeah.
and like I don't have nothing like else to do. And
And
they're
that is
like,
a
damn,
long day,
it
yeah.
really is. But they're like, what? Like that's what we do every day. Like
Yeah, and we get paid nothing, yeah.
exactly. And that's what I was like. Ooh, I'm so like,
Ah,
yeah.
wrong crowd to complain
Yeah,
to, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh, what? Like we do that every day. And I was like, I felt so like lazy. 'Cause, like honestly, yeah, just because being exposed to the lifestyle, of, like, oh, you have your own business, like you can afford to be lazy and like wake up when you want. And,
Yeah.
like I got so bought into that idea that like anything other than that is crazy to me. I'm like, so
I feel you because I make a terrible employee. I am a pretty decent. I'm a really good partner. Like
mm,
if I can be like partnered into whatever's going on, and I actually get to like affect change, and I like really feel like I'm making a difference. I'm the guy you want on your team. But if it's just like have me show up and like clock in and punch in a
Yo,
couple hours,
that was the
I can't do it. And
worst.
I had a really good office job, and it was even like a very chill office. Like I got to wear swim trunks to the office every
Bro,
day. I'm like
what?
board shorts and like a tank top at the computer. They had a gym. Dogs were allowed, so there's always like dogs and puppies
Aw.
running around, and like it was very chill.
Mhm,
And I still drove myself crazy there because I was just like
mhm.
coming in and putting in my, however many hours versus like actually getting to go in and affect change in any
Impact.
way.
Right.
Um, and I think that that's kind of a difference between the U.S. and a lot of other cultures. Like,
Mhm,
I bet none of your cousins, or I bet most of your cousins actually, I'll flip it around. I bet most of the people you know who are living in Mexico full time, because the pace of life is so different there,
mhm,
I bet the joy quota makes is like so obvious to them. Like I share this idea with people in the US
mhm,
and it blows their mind. They're like, "What?"
mhm.
It's the first time anyone ever thought that I should be like doing anything other than just like grinding away
Working.
for the
Yeah.
company so that I could make the next promotion or like whatever it
Mhm.
is. Versus I feel like every time I've gone to other cultures, people are so much more in sync with their joy and like
Right.
making sure that like they have like you can look at Spain, like they take legit siestas, like the whole country just like nah man, we ain't doing anything, it's lunchtime. Like
Yo, I've
yeah.
never been there. I need to go. I'm going to Barcelona here next year, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out. But you said
Cause
siesta?
yeah, cause like they'll literally just like and like the whole thing is so or like my buddy Sam went to Amsterdam and like Holland and was kind of over in that area of Europe, and
Mhm.
he was like, "Yeah, dude, everyone would stay out till like literally like 5 in the morning, but then work and like nothing gets like it's not like here where a business opens at like 7 in the morning and stays open till 8 p.m. It's like
Mhm.
nothing even opens till like 10, and every
Everyone's
like the whole
sleeping.
thing is just like pushed further, and like yeah, everyone just like way more relaxed pace of life,
Wow, I
and
need
everyone
that.
is just a lot more focused on actually enjoying their life.
Mm.
Like, and I think that it's so funny that the U.S. is like the only place
Mm.
that this is a novel idea to actually enjoy your life. Like it's wild to me, anyways.
Honestly, like you go to all these other countries and I feel like they have less, but they're like I feel like especially I see it in my family, like they're all united, they're happy because they have each other and they have like they're not the richest, but they have health and they have each other and that's really like all that matters at the end of the day. Like
100%. Like I said, you can't take the
yeah.
rest of it with you, and like it's something that hopefully one day the U.S. will find our way to appropriate that, for lack of a better term, and like kind of make it our own.
Yeah.
Because every country has to do that on their own, and we're just like such a relatively new country, and it was all founded out of like grind and hustle, and
Mm.
we have to be the best out of everyone. Like I'd rather be a happy fifth or sixth place, like
Like Switzerland
yeah,
or
or
like
yeah, like
they're not number one in
uh,
maybe number one
yeah,
in the
like
happiest place on
what's
earth, but
Liechtenstein up to? Like
yeah,
I bet everyone's there just having a
they're
blast.
chilling,
Like they're just Brussels. When is the
having
last time you heard anything about Brussels?
yeah, what
They're
the
just
heck?
like middle of the pack, enjoying their life, and probably like more energy efficient. Like everything is probably like we just push everything so hard in the U.S.
Side tangent. We spend so much money on the military. I literally like I
Yeah.
cannot believe it. Because my brother just joined, so like I've been.
Oh, okay. So you've been doing some research.
Well, I went to Fort Jackson in South Carolina, like one of the biggest military bases, where they train like the most soldiers. So
Yeah.
they say like that's like the gold standard of like training for the army, and basically they're in the like orientation for the families. They're saying that the budget for the army is like $700 billion. I was like, no, like for how many years? Like is that?
It's like each year.
Yeah, they're like yeah per year. I was like, what?
And
This is
that's like just the
ridiculous.
army, and that's just the budget that they want you to know about. You know what I
Yo,
mean?
yeah,
Like
that black
it's
budget.
probably like I read a statistic once. It was like somewhere around like 3 trillion a year.
That's great.
Which
Well, you have to think. You have to like house all those service members. You have to pay for
oh
all these
yeah,
planes, all
and you're
this
paying
ammo.
for all the VA stuff. You're paying
The
for like all of their
exactly.
retirements. Like
And we
I
don't
know
just
some
have military
people
bases in U.S.
who
We have
have
all
like
over the world.
100% disability with the military, and like their entire life is paid for, which is
Yeah.
crazy. And like that's the whole point is like you take care of them.
Right. Because they take
But
care
it
of
is like
you.
it's an expense, and like
And who's paying that expense though, at the end of
it's
the
us,
day?
yeah,
It's
which is pretty wild.
us. But and it's like the whole concept is just crazy to me. It's like we're going more and more into debt every year. Like we can't pay back the debt that we've already paid, but we're going more in debt like
Yeah.
that. Like,
Dude.
But to defend our democracy, whatever, like
Yeah, it's a weird place because at some point is it unjustified or is it always justified? Like,
is it like
'cause you
okay,
do
now we
have to
have all
spend
this
money on
power
them.
all over the world?
Again, like a happy fifth place is where I'm like, yeah,
like we're defending
yeah,
peace. Yeah, I get that. It just
it's pretty
it
wild.
costs money to
Yeah,
defend this world.
it's pretty.
And
It's
now we have
pretty
a space
crazy.
force.
Yeah, I know.
So
Dude,
like the
yeah.
budget just went bang, like,
Yeah.
and it's just crazy to me because I don't know where this world's gonna be in the next 100 years, but like
It's gonna be interesting.
it is gonna be very
Yeah.
interesting because
I'll
like
be
we
there
read
with a
about
smile on my
all
face.
these empires that happen. Like one day, some kids are gonna be reading about the United States Empire. I don't
Yeah.
know. You
I
never
know,
know. Like
that's what's so crazy, yeah.
like they had
It's
all these islands. Now Hawaii's its own thing. Now Texas is its own thing. No, I'm just
yeah,
kidding. You know, but
100%. I know what you mean though. I
uh,
think about it too. A fun thing to do if you're ever bored or like you and some like friends want to just have like a fun drinking game, or not drinking game, but either way, why wouldn't you?
or not.
You you try and spend $1 billion. So like theoretically spend $1 billion, and it goes faster than you think.
Mm.
A billion doesn't go as far as it used to, which is pretty wild
Which
to think
is
about. Like
true.
and you can like do it in
That's
increments.
true.
Like you can
Yeah.
be like, all right, how would I spend 1
100
million?
million.
And then how would I spend 100 million? And then how would I spend 1 billion?
Mm.
And then like to really win it, you have to spend $1 trillion, like
1
theoretically.
trillion? That's hard.
You just like Google like crazy
Yeah.
stuff and you just write down like this insane budget. Me and my buddy Dawson did it once, and we literally were buying corporations like Coke and Apple, and like we had multiple islands. We had a couple cruise ships. We bought 2 space shuttles and a trip to space. Like we each flew separate.
I'm dead.
And then we
That is
had,
funny.
I think we accounted for having 1,000 staff members. Every single person was making $100,000 a year plus benefits, and then
funny.
we were
That part.
still at like 500 billion. It was insane. We
Yeah.
literally just donated, I think, because we were getting like bored and we couldn't figure out how to spend the money.
Like, boys and girls, how much y'all want?
We would do like weird things. Like we looked up how much an actual like gold toilet is, and then just assumed that like every one of our mansions had like 13 bathrooms, and just multiplied it by like 100, so that every single bathroom and anything that we owned had
That's
a gold toilet.
ridiculous.
And it doesn't even make a dent. It's so much money.
Oh yeah.
And then
So it's crazy to think
we ended up
700
donating like $300 million to Africa. We were just like, whatever we can do, this money will just go to fixing anything out there.
You know what makes me mad?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
China makes me mad.
China?
Well, they're gonna
What grinds your
hold
gears
on.
about China?
Honestly,
They're
I'm
gonna
so
find
happy
this
to live
podcast and come after you.
exactly. I'm glad I live in the U.S., but they're gonna block my visa. I have a 10-year visa to China,
Yeah.
but after listening to this, they're gonna be like, "Huh, you can't come no more."
No more for Mr.
Mr. Banuelos, you
Yeah,
can't come no
exactly.
more. Okay, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
All right, so check this out. First of all, okay, I have a couple of beefs with China.
Yeah.
So they are lending so much money to these African countries to basically one to benefit their commerce.
Yeah.
They're building all this infrastructure, so like they're lending Africa like
Yeah, to build like ports and stuff. Yeah, I know what you're talking
roads,
about. What is the
bridges, the
It's like
Silk Road,
a
the new
thing.
Silk Road or something
Yeah,
like that.
no.
I don't freaking
name
know.
of that? Yeah, I know what
But
you're
it's
talking
through
about.
Africa,
Yeah.
yo. And so they know these poor countries can't pay them back. So what's gonna happen is that like when time comes back, they're gonna default on that, and then they're gonna be like China's gonna be like, okay, we own this.
Yeah,
Like y'all can't like I don't know, like something's gonna happen and they're gonna like own the world because they're lending all this money we are in debt to them. Like
Oh, everyone is. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
So they're
insane.
and they have like the fastest growing middle population of the world. They have billion people, like 1.7 billion or something like that,
It's
which is
crazy.
stupid
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
over half of
And
the
their
world lives in
president,
China.
Sir Xi Jinping or whatever,
Yeah,
like this man is smart because he like his backstory. He grew up super poor, and like he saw what like commerce or open like a free market would do, and so like when he got into power or whatever, however that happened, I'm not too knowledgeable on it, the whole spiel, but like someone told me that
yeah,
basically like yeah, he this happened like this is not too long ago either, like in the past like 20, 30, like probably like
yeah,
20
yeah,
years, uh commerce opened, and like because back then like communism, right? So like there'd be everyone's wearing the same thing, everyone's like
yeah,
lining up for like a
yeah. Like
soup
they
chick,
finally
like
just started getting like cars, like
exactly like
modern cars.
and
Yeah.
it man, their come up is so beautiful. um
Oh, and
but they also are doing some fucking horrible shit to like have you heard of like what's going on like with uh the
anything that grows that fast is doing some crazy stuff, and like that type of growth,
because they have
whether
to
it's a
control those people,
company
right?
or the human body, like when you see someone who was normally like 150 pounds all of a sudden just bulk up to like 190, and you're like,
Yeah, hold
nothing
on.
good just happened for your
Like your
body, like the
arteries are
fast,
probably about to
like how
like
like whether it's muscle or like
right,
fat, like
yeah.
either way, like
Such
any
a
type,
fast change just like that.
nature isn't designed to grow that quickly,
Mm-hmm.
except for in very rare
Mm-hmm.
instances. Like there are certain types of animals and like plants and stuff that grow insanely fast, and then usually they're dead or gone or wilted in like days or weeks, which is like
Mm-hmm.
crazy because the human population has been expanding at an insane rate for so long that like nature wasn't designed to work like that. And we're just like
Exactly.
genuinely cracking the whole system. Like I have no idea, but I'm sure at some point in our lifetime, like something absolutely insane
If
is going to go
7
down.
billion people are having babies,
Exactly.
something's because it's like it's growing exponentially. Like if you see the chart
It
of like the
goes
human
crazy,
population, like
yeah.
with more modern medicine, with all this, like
Everyone lives longer, though there is a
yeah,
decline in how many people
are
are
having
having
babies,
babies,
which is
but
true.
there's so many people still having
Right,
babies.
right, right.
And
Like
like,
that, it trumps it. So
yeah.
man, so with China, they have like one thing I do admire is how fast they get things done. Like they
It's
can build shit
crazy.
so fast, like
Yeah.
bridges. Like here, the I-70 project is gonna take like 5 years. They
Minimum,
they
yeah.
they can do
They'd have
that
it
in
done
like
in a month.
exactly,
Yeah.
man. Like it's
But that's
crazy.
also because they
They
own everything and everyone, so they would just literally like,
they work overnight, like
yeah, they would,
24/7, and they just have crews.
yeah, it'd be way gnarlier.
But they have to control those people. And so I was watching this basically this documentary of like the new social credit score that they're doing. Like
Oh, that
this
is super
yeah, so
creepy.
this happened. This video came out 2
Yeah.
weeks ago, and this lady, she's a investigative journalist from London. She was out there talking about basically how these like they're investing so much money, like they're pouring billions of dollars into these different companies that can like read like all this
Oh, it's
information
all
from these
AI
videos
and
and
like
stuff.
facial
Exactly, the
recognition, and
facial
like
recognition is the
it's an
craziest part.
actual Big Brother stuff. Like,
Yeah, they're planning to have more than 300 million cameras. They said this
yeah,
guy who was like not one of the guys like in charge of one of these companies. It was like just imagine. He's like super happy about it. He's like just imagine being able to know exactly what happened every single second of the day in any like corner of China, like any little square inch of China. Like we would
yeah,
know everything. And
especially like
so
the major
yeah,
metropolis
he's like there would be people
areas.
not committing crimes. Like people would be like because I don't know the
That's the
facial shit
trouble.
could
Is
yeah.
it narrows down who gets to commit the crimes, right? Like all of a sudden there'd be an explosion of like corporate crime or like government style, where like Big Brother stuff, like they're doing
Mm,
like crazy shady stuff, but
yeah.
then yeah, the little guy who's like literally trying to like steal to put bread on his table,
Right.
that guy all of a sudden just goes
And now
hungry, and his family is all
he
messed
can't
up.
book flights, he can't book train tickets, he can't do
And
anything because
some of
his
it's
social
not even
credit score
based
goes
on
down.
like
Like that's
stuff
crazy.
that should affect it. Like some of it is like if you don't hold the door for someone, or like
Yeah,
if you smoke a cigarette, or
that's
if you
crazy.
drink too much alcohol on a weeknight, and like
Mm.
weird stuff. Like I'm already terrified of AI, and like I
You
don't
are.
want.
I am excited for it,
Dude,
Heike. I am
you're
in.
part of the problem,
No, no,
Moises.
no. You, Gavin, my friend.
No, dude.
We have to welcome
Do you
this
have an
technology.
Echo in your house?
No, for a reason.
Yeah, that's because AI is a terrible
Because they're
idea.
listening to
Yeah,
everything.
that's like our phones already do it, and I would
Hey
do
Siri.
anything to get rid of
It's like
my phone, but streaming music is
Mm. Just
I
get an
it's
iPod.
so hard. I know I've actually thought about it and like getting an old flip phone just so I could have that, because like it does actually like legitimately concern. Like the other day we were talking about the Ford Raptor,
Mm.
and literally 1 minute later, everyone that was having that conversation, and we were just
We're
having it
getting
out loud,
ads.
got ads for Ford Raptors.
Oh my gosh.
So like that's the kind of stuff where like,
Yeah.
because there's no way to check any of that power.
Like who's
Yeah, like
watching, overseeing that?
because it does. There's so many great things that come from it,
Mhm.
but there's no way to check the power to keep it out of the hands of
Right.
someone who's like, oh, I can make an extra tenth of a penny on every purchase because of this one little thing, and then all of a sudden, because of little decisions like that, like a corporation or the government or things like that, it's or like think of like the new Tesla, like it's always connected to the internet. Like the Tesla is so cool, but they've already proven that like if you're committed, you can just hack into a Tesla and shut it down while they're driving.
No way.
And you can like program viruses into them and stuff.
No
like,
way.
and like that's
Elon
why.
Musk, is this true? I'm about to ask.
Yeah, no, and like
how are you protecting
anything
this?
that's connected to the internet, you can hack into from anywhere. Like that's just how science works. So like if you picture
man.
if you
That's how science
no, but like that's the thing is like at some point, let's say, 10 years down the road, Teslas are all used cars. No one's leasing, or like at some point there's going to be used electric cars out there,
Right.
like used Teslas.
There
that
are right
someone's
now.
put like
Yeah.
200,000 miles on. Now picture every electronic you've ever had. At some point it gets like a weird bug, or it just kind of goes bad.
Right.
And imagine when that happens once, you're driving 80 miles an hour and you've got autopilot on. And all of a sudden that happens to be the day that it glitches, like even though it's an incredible car and all that stuff, like I think technology personally, like I wish it had like ended in the 80s.
No way. Are you serious?
Yeah, like just
damn,
because
Gavin, that's crazy. That's a
like,
dagger to my heart. That's crazy.
It's done so many good things. Like if you look at how we can share medicine and like information about
FaceTime.
Oh yeah, all that stuff is amazing. But at the same time,
traveling the world would not be a thing. I mean,
it would.
On
it
boats.
would just be different. No, they for sure had real deal commercial airlines. It's not steampunk. Like, yeah, dude, it's not that long ago. Like we had crazy awesome cars. There was electric cars in the 80s. We had solar power. We had a lot of. It hadn't been like refined and like perfected, but like, yeah,
memory cards are also this big. Phones are also this big. Computing power was this big. Like,
there's always going to be that balance, right, between freedom and comfort and efficiency and ease of life. And at some point, I think soon we're going to be passing that line where everyone's going to be so comfortable that they're not going to be willing to give any of that comfort up to gain some of their freedom back.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why I'm afraid of AI. Why do you think it's like so good?
It's the greatest thing since sliced bread, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like
it doesn't freak you out that everything is listening to you 24/7.
I mean, it's been that way since this whole. It's like since 9/11. Like the NSA has been able to like listen to everything, like now more so than ever. Like
but now
with
it's
like
even
Facebook,
corporations
Snapchat,
and
all that. Like I definitely understand where you're coming from, but I see more of an advantage. Like there's gonna be bugs with everything. Like you're talking about like the cars, how like one day they'll go bad. Like the cars now go bad after 280,000 miles.
But it's all
on a motor.
Just technology. Like it's
like you can be
not so
on the
dangerous.
freeway and your car can give out. I feel like
it'll give out in the sense of like it'll stop running, but it won't give out in the sense of like there's one weird little electronic glitch that all of a sudden it doesn't sense the car in front of you brake, and you're just on autopilot and you just drive into the back of someone at like 80 miles an
Yeah.
hour.
See, I feel like I don't know. That's
Or like the lane change thing where like
yeah.
everyone gets so, again, that comfort versus freedom level,
Yeah.
like
Like if everyone
you've
was on the
gotten so,
autonomous, there would be no crashes.
but
If
at that same, I know what you mean, because I do agree.
because like they'd all
I
be on the same
genuinely do
network and they
agree.
like they can track,
But
they
then
can see each
there wouldn't
other.
be any crashes until someone wanted there to be a crash. You know what I mean? Like, to me,
No, it wouldn't let you crash. They like literally don't let you crash. I mean, I'm lying. They probably
yeah. But
like
that's the
that.
thing is
There have
like,
been some
I'm
Teslas
picturing
who
if
crashed.
everything's on like a network
Mhm.
and that's what's controlling traffic. Imagine like countrywide, because it
Mhm.
would all have to be linked together. Like the
Yeah,
traffic in Denver would technically affect the traffic in like Colorado Springs, and like
yeah.
it'd have to be this crazy network of stuff.
I
And
believe
all
it
someone
is
would have to do
possible.
is like plug a bug into that system, and the whole country would shut down.
That's like yeah, like someone can mess up our grid, like our like if someone really wanted to, they
Yeah,
can hack into the like the power grid and shit like
100%.
fuck shit
Like
up.
that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, I'm
So I
really
feel like the
like
government would
I'm
have a
getting
whole
more.
protection on it.
I'm
Like
becoming like more of a crotchety old man as I'm getting older, where I
I
just want
feel
to
you.
like have like a cabin in the woods, and like all cars that are like still carbureted and like
See,
stuff like that, so that I can like.
I want to
It's
ban.
weird.
If I was having this conversation earlier with somebody, and I was like, if I was in charge, they're like, what do you mean if you're in charge? I was like, if I could just make laws. If I was like, let's say you're the
Hmm.
president or you're really
Yeah, I get to
influential person in
design
Congress that can
the
like
way that the world
influence
works.
other
Yeah,
people to vote for you and pass these laws, I would literally say, okay, by 2025, we're gonna eliminate all carbon use, all carbon, whatever the carbon X,
yeah.
you know,
Carbon emissions.
carbon emissions. Thank
Yeah,
you, Jesus. Um, we're gonna like somehow like we're gonna save this planet, right?
yeah,
One car at a time. We're gonna say, hey, we can do it several different ways. We can make it either a punitive or we can make it beneficial for people. Whereas we can be like, hey, all right,
yeah. You get rid
by
of your
this year,
car, and we'll give you money. Like there's an
not even like
incentive.
to because there's gonna be, let's say everyone gets rid of their cars. Like, where's all that gonna waste gonna go? Like, let's say we
Yeah,
kind of reimagine stuff. We say, bring me your car. I'm gonna take out your engine and I'm gonna put in a battery.
it
And
is
then boom,
possible.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna pay you for this like transition, and I'm also gonna pay you to put like a solar panel on your roof so you can charge your car,
yeah,
and then the excess stuff can go to our power grid and like make a contract like subsidize it in a way like if we're spending $700 billion on military, let's say we put a couple $1 billion over here for
yeah. I know
this,
what you mean.
and
Yeah,
like let's say we make it illegal to drive like first of all, ban all these big old trucks that are like with the big old black smoke that are unnecessary. Like those would be gone right away, like on the first day of my like
wow.
ruling. Second, I would be like, all right, by the end of the year or by whatever, like make shit illegal. Be like, all right, you can't drive it no more if it's gonna emit this thing, because we really got to protect. If you really think about it, all these cars are like they've even shown like these are proven facts. You can look this up.
Yeah. Oh
People
yeah.
who live by 70 have like literally who live right by it. When there's traffic and stuff, all those people are emitting all that, and so like, where do you think all that goes? Like those people have to like, I don't know, like it's irrational to think that that's not going to affect someone's like health,
Yeah.
and so like a lot of different health problems have been associated with like or like people who live around there have all like showed different like uh the
Yeah. If you like
same,
back up to like
they've been
an
diagnosed with the
area,
same
yeah,
stuff, and it's all kind of been traced to like the air quality there. And so if we want to protect like our children and stuff, I feel like that's what we should be thinking about in our future. Then like we have to start thinking irrationally and being like, all right, like some people think it's crazy 2025, like that's too
yeah,
soon, everyone has all these cars, like they're, but when we stop the manufacturers, we say, hey, y'all can't make any more of these cars. You have to go, y'all have, by next year, y'all have to go fully electric. Like you cannot sell any more cars. You cannot make any more cars. You cannot, like, it is illegal. And
yeah.
then hopefully other countries will follow. And I don't
That'd
know.
be wild. It's funny because I feel like cars is one, like there's different
There's different
plans
ways
of
to get it
attack.
around
Like I
too.
think
Like
as much as I
if we had a
like
free public
not being
transportation,
vegan or like a vegetarian, like
mm,
that seems like a massive difference because like we do so much just to like feed, water,
Oh my
grow,
god, all
and
these
like
cows.
house all of that, like cows and chickens and pigs that we
That's
eat.
facts. Yeah.
Like it's pretty crazy, like the amount of like that's like why they're clearing the rainforests and stuff, is for like cattle and like it's for that kind of thing.
That's so
And that's where
gross.
like I would,
Yeah.
I don't know, I just watched something with Ali
I'd
on
put you on my cabinet.
Netflix. Yeah, I
Like
just
put you in charge.
I yeah, because I'd fight for the internal combustion engine, I would, but it can be improved. But yeah, there's a lot of like crazy stuff like in that sense that Ali and I were like, we keep going back and forth. Like she's a lot closer, I think, to finally breaking and like committing to it
To
than
go
I
vegan?
am. At least like mostly plant based diet.
Mhm.
Like I don't think either of us would ever go like fully. Um,
Mhm.
because that's another weird thing about me is like I'm not a huge fan of being like 100% in on most any like if you look at like people who take anything to an extreme, like
Yeah.
it always is a problem.
Yeah.
Whether it's like
Too much of
you look at
anything is a bad thing.
the
Yeah.
crusades and like in the name of a really wonderful and awesome God, some horrible things happened. Even though like it wasn't by any means something that if you actually look at the actions would have been justified by what they
Mhm.
believed, but they believed it so intensely and so fervently. You look at same thing with like the people who are insane meat eaters who would just keep eating meat just to spite people. It's like you believe that too intensely.
Mm.
Like you got to check yourself. And like anytime
Before
you
you wreck
have that,
yourself.
like same as like I've met some business owners or like friends of mine who've built businesses where like you introduce them to an employee, someone who just actually like the joy quota, like they're just like happy spending their 9 to 5 in one place and it's stable and they go home to a wonderful family and they just
Mhm.
like stay in their lane and they're happy. Like I have people who believe so intensely about being a business owner and all that stuff that like they would like yell and like look down on these people who are like good people just for that, and vice versa, people who are so afraid of owning your own business and all the
Mm.
risk that goes into it that they have like scolded me for often not having a normal job and being more like make it my own way and my own business kind of thing. So like yeah, I think anyone who's like that intensely passionate about anything is probably like that Greta chick who just got person of the year from Time, like
Yeah.
incredible passion.
Mm.
But at the same time, like if you're that passionate about something with like such intense energy, there's nothing that anyone could ever say to her that would ever even get through the surface level, which means like she's not half as open-minded as she seems just
Mm.
because her ideas are new, but she believes them so intensely that like even if someone came up and offered any kind of assistance, if it wasn't what she already believed, she would just disassociate from it.
Mm.
You know, like I think that's you run the risk of becoming closed-minded, I guess.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that a weird thought?
Nah, I mean, not at all.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I that's the thing is I think like there's a million ways to milk it,
To
a
milk a
million
cow.
ways to make
I
$1 million.
like to milk
Yeah,
a
I
cow.
know. Or like there's lots of ways to skin a cat. Like as the saying
Right.
goes, like I think that our biggest problem is that people aren't doing anything.
Mm.
It's not that we're not doing the right things. It's that no one wants to do anything until all of the answers are solved, and so nothing actually gets done.
Yeah, that's the
Like
problem.
I would love to recycle, but recycling is super super hard, and like I'm still figuring out how to do it right. Allie's always like
Yeah, it's hard.
yelling at me
It's
for
like,
doing it
does this
wrong, and
go
like
here or here? Because some things are like, this has
yeah, you
food
have to
on
like
it.
rinse everything
Right.
out, and it's like
Yeah.
genuinely a hassle, and
Yeah.
like that's that
You're
whole like
changing your consumer behavior, and we
yeah,
don't like that when our routines kind of like when someone
exactly,
throws a little curveball in there.
and that's where I notice like some of my places where I'm like so fervently passionate, like
Mm.
where I'm like, oh, I'm so resistant to this change, not because the change itself is so bad, but because I'm so intensely focused on being right or being
Mm.
correct that I won't just change my habits, even though I know I should.
Yeah, I think so. In college, I took this class, and this will always stick with me, like on how to change your habits. Basically, like, well, one, recognize that it is hard, like it's one of
Yeah.
the hardest things you can do, but basically, like you got to recognize like your cue, like recognize like when, like the habit starts when. So like, let's say that
Yeah,
you're
like what starts the reaction of
yeah, the
events.
whole exactly. So let's say for example, we're talking about recycling.
Yeah.
So your cue, like you have a routine. So it's a cue, routine, reward. So like when you the cue is, damn, I have to like throw this away. The routine is just as fast as
Yeah.
possible, like put this
Get
over
rid
here,
of
this
it.
over
Yeah.
here, and then your reward is, whew, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Right, clean. But now if you like kind of like rewire it, it's like, all right, your cue is, all right, I'm done. Like I
The
have to
cue
do
doesn't
something.
necessarily change.
Exactly, but like your routine, that's what, like you have to have a plan of action. Like when if you recognize your cue, you're like, all right, this is the cue. Holy crap! Like this is the moment.
Yeah, this
And
is
like now this is the routine. Like you already have the plan, and then you like reward yourself. Like plan a reward for yourself. Like holy crap, I just recycled. Like I should go take myself for an ice cream. I don't know. Like it
yeah,
doesn't have
like
to be every time,
literally, yeah.
but like little things like that are gonna help you to change, and you can use that for anything. And that's helped me out
Yeah.
so much. Like
100%.
especially like for bad habits. Like
Oh, it's so big and
like eating, especially like
yeah.
like the cue, I'm hungry, like let's look in the fridge, like in the freezer, like the routine, like let's grab the ice cream. The reward is, oh, I'm gonna feel so good with this ice cream.
Yeah.
But it's like, all right, your cue is that you want something sweet, like nah, go to the gym, let's change the routine, like let's do like,
It's
I
pretty
don't know,
crazy.
just being conscious is probably the biggest thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, it's not necessarily changing your cues and even right away changing your routine. It's changing it from being autonomous, like you're just doing it without thinking.
Autopilot, yeah, you're getting
Like
off
all you have
autopilot.
to do is just insert a split-second decision spot, like where you can actually make a decision, even if you don't always make the right one. Just having that spot, like where maybe the first part of either routine is just making the choice. So even if you do the wrong thing, it's because you chose the wrong thing.
Mhm.
And then the next step is like, well, you're already in the habit of choosing the wrong thing. So then you're already in the habit of choosing. So then you can choose the right thing. And then that's like the next step. Like it's so wild. And I wish that, I mean, I'm sure we could both talk about how like that's what more people need to be learning in school than like the ninth version of algebra. Like especially now that like technology takes care of, like, unless you're going to pursue something like that and you're
Right,
already
right.
passionate about it. Like I remember I was a freshman in high school and I was taking trig pre-calc honors and as a freshman,
Oh
because
my
I had already
gosh.
like
That
done
sounds
all of this
terrible.
other stuff. Yeah, I was doing stuff that like most kids in high school would never even get to my first year. And I remember being like, how did I get here? I hate math. I hate math so much. And I just happened to be okay at it in grade school. And I was like, that my cue was like, it used to just be like I would listen to whatever faculty member told me what to do.
Yeah,
And then all
do
of a
it.
sudden I was like, no, I'm going to start actually like making my own choices.
Mm.
And that was like when I started realizing like I don't actually enjoy any of this. Like I'm not going to use any of this. And everyone else in that same class like went on to be like actual rocket scientists and like engineers and
Wow.
like work in
I
like
always felt
very
intimidated by those guys.
specific
I was like, you guys are gonna.
fields. And I was like, I never wanted to do any of
Yeah.
that.
No,
So it
exactly.
made no sense that I was it. So I literally went into high school doing that and then did
Mhm.
like 3 years of probability and statistics.
Oh my gosh.
Like the
Took the
lowest
easiest
form
route.
of, yeah, I was like, I'm good. I just need to like keep my brain from decaying and I'm gonna go learn other skills
Yo.
like woodworking and like working all that crazy stuff. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I took AP Calc my senior year.
Dude,
It
yeah.
prepared me for college though. High key, like so shout out to my teacher. I had a really good teacher.
Yeah. Well,
But
yeah, and like I never even went to college and like I knew that pretty early on in my high school
mhm.
career as well, like that I didn't want to go. Um and again, I was just like, why am I trying to like force myself to take, 2 hours of homework a night
Yeah, what the heck?
versus
That's torture.
yeah.
You should be out having fun. and it's a team.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
Like,
I
you ain't
thought.
got no
Yeah.
responsibilities. Enjoy life, please. Do not be stressing over. I mean, it is important to have good grades, keep your stuff up, but I firmly believe you can do both. Like,
Oh, 100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can get your stuff done, and you're gonna feel way better. Like, you have joy as you actually feel joy without stress, like stressing over stuff. Like, you can experience stuff. You're like, all right, I'm done. Like, let me go have fun. Let me enjoy myself because
Yeah.
I'm gonna reward myself for.
Well, that's such a perfect tie back into the
Mm,
joy quota of like,
mm.
if you enjoy your like, go enjoy yourself even for a little bit, and you'll come back and be more efficient, more effective. You'll do
Really though,
better
it's a
versus
real
most.
thing.
Like, it's unfortunate that there's all this pressure in the educational system, because most kids have an awful time because they're just like getting flogged, like
Mm.
everything is so intense and scary, versus they can, if they just eased back even just a little bit and like had fun every now and again. Like, there are kids in high school who are taking, certain classes and electives that even could be fun. Like, I knew kids who took like theater and band and like
Yo, theater
were
is
doing
so
all
fun.
these extracurriculars just so that their resume would look better.
Mm.
Their like college resume.
Yeah.
And so they missed out on actually enjoying theater class or like getting to be silly and doing improv sketch or like singing in the choir, and like all of the fun out of it got,
Mm.
versus like I knew people who were doing, they're like 3 hours a night of homework, AP everything as like
Mm.
freshmen, and they were so happy
Mm.
because that's what they enjoyed.
Right.
They were
Some
intellectual
people are
types
they're
who
in their
love, like,
zone, yeah, and
the
they
last thing they wanted to do was, some of the things that most of us were trying to go do.
right, and they
That
get
was
rewarded
their
by being the number 1, be number 2, number 3, number
exactly,
4, like
yeah.
that. Yeah, that's us.
And so I think that more people, if we're going to go back to, the cue
Mm.
routine reward, if we're going to go back to that, like, most people don't actually know what their reward is.
Mm.
They think they do, but knowing what actually matters to you and what types of values that you and principles that you want to stand for in this life,
Mhm.
knowing that can make, or can at least help you make more effective rewards for yourself, especially when it comes to changing that hard habit. Like, if the routine of like wiping your hands and being done with cleaning up because all you did was just throw everything in the trash and you didn't think twice about like being eco-friendly and like all that stuff, which I totally get, like, no judgment.
Mhm.
If that's like, why is that such a powerful reward? And like
Exactly,
digging
thinking
into
about the
like,
why. Yeah.
yeah, most people think it's this act of willpower to change their habits. It's all about just like muscling through and being tougher and like suffering through not getting what they actually
Mm.
want, versus if you actually want to change your habits, you have to just find something that looks better.
Mm.
It's a better reward.
Mm.
Like, if you got paid X amount of dollars for a certain job and then someone tried to cut your pay in half, you'd be upset. You wouldn't just sit there and suffer through it and try and willpower through it,
Right.
unless, if you did, it would be while you found something better, you know
Mm.
versus that's how people try and change their habits. They're like, oh, I want to start losing weight and going to the gym, and then they go for a little bit. Perfect time, it's the beginning of the year, everyone does that, and then because they're trying to make change based on willpower alone,
Mm.
the willpower eventually gives out.
Mhm.
And once it gives out once, that reward for giving out is going to be a million times better than any of the reward they gave themselves
Mm.
for actually doing the right thing. So they're not even going to have a mental incentive to go back next time the cue comes up.
Yeah, that's hard. It is. One of the hardest things you'll do. But going back to like joy and stuff, like I feel like if you focus on your strengths,
Yeah.
then and you're doing stuff that you're good at, like you're naturally gonna like your creative juices are gonna be flowing if that's the kind of thing you're into. Like if you're into like working out, like you're like the
Yeah,
juices
you're
are
going to
just
be,
flowing.
yeah.
If you're into basketball, like you're like do that and that'll bring you happy. That'll bring you around people who are also good at that, and like just being around people who enjoy your similar who are good at what you're good at. I mean, is always like just good. Like just get out of your house and like
Yeah.
plan that stuff. Like like make like I'm not in a relationship, but I know like with a lot of people who are like they plan their date nights. They're like, all right, Thursday nights we're gonna go out regardless of like what's going on. Like we're just
Yeah.
that is the day we're going out. Like and like just planning stuff out. Like for me, I've been taking like planning vacations way more seriously. Like all right now, like I'm in total control. Like before, it's always been kind of like I know when I'm going because I have my spring break, I have winter break, I have summer break. Like
Yeah.
I kind of know
You're kind of
when I
forced
can.
into
Yeah,
taking them in
but
certain parts of the year.
but now it's like I don't have to come back to the U.S. I can stay out. I mean, I do have to, but I don't like.
Technically, yeah.
But I can just kind of bounce around, and so I've like taken the liberty to plan this like big old trip next year. I'm trying to do like Morocco, all southern Spain, Barcelona, hit like
Yeah.
Italy again, so hit Rome, and then go to Greece, go down to Egypt, hit Sharm el Sheikh again,
Mess
Cairo,
around with that whole
Luxor,
Mediterranean.
Alexander, yes, and then go
Yeah.
up to Jordan to Petra, then hit up Jerusalem, Israel, Istanbul, Turkey, then go back out to London, then come back to the US. So
That'd
like
be sick.
it's gonna be amazing. Um, but like the reason I say that is because like
Because you love traveling.
I love traveling, but the like how I'm gonna tie back to the joy quota is like I forced myself, and this was one of the best things that I think I've ever done because like when I was actually going through the process of doing this, it brought me so much joy. Like, cause for me, what brings me joy is like the unknown. They're like, oh my gosh, like what
Yeah.
adventures are like I don't like when you book a flight to a place you've never gone before, you're like, holy crap, like I don't know, that feeling is just awesome. And so I have a list of all these places that I've gone since like the 2014, and like right now the list is at like 60
Yeah, I
something.
remember Julio was bragging at the Christmas
Yeah, I was
party.
like, oh,
Yeah.
I really don't know. Because he's asking like how many places or countries. I was like, I don't
Yeah.
do it that way. I just do it by like I was
New
like, I've been to
places.
Mexico
Yeah.
like 5 times. So, like, but let me see. Oh,
But
here
yeah,
it
I
is.
mean that's such a big point. Is you started taking it serious. You learned just how much joy you got from that feeling of unknown, and like that gave you a feeling of feeling like, oh, what's next? That anticipation, and so you just leaned into it. Versus a lot of people don't take the time to like dissect what makes them happy so that they can plan to be happy
For real.
or
And like
to plan joy. Yeah.
exactly, and like just knowing that traveling is what brings me joy. I was like, all right, I need to do more of this in 2020, and so like really, I'm just investing all my resources into just like getting all these flights done, getting
Yeah.
like the people to go out with me to just make it a good time. So I was just reflecting, and I was like, wow, I've done a lot. Like this year alone, like was crazy. But so I ended up the year with 58 with Hawaii, Honolulu dream trip with mom. So I already had Phoenix momentum with 59, but then
Yeah.
so it had stopped there. Like that's where the numbers had stopped. But then I woke up one day and I was like, or not one day, like this was probably
Yeah.
like last week. I got invited to go to Puerto Rico February 10th through the 20th, and so I was like, oh
Are
dang,
you
I have
going
to
with?
like with Julio.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
up.
yeah.
That's
So
sick.
I'm about to. So I was like, oh, I need to update my list. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna like put down some numbers. So I put down 60, that was Puerto Rico. And then 61, I already have my Jamaica dream trip planned out.
Yeah.
So I was like, I put that in. I put United for April. That's 62. So I booked the Greece volunteerism trip. So that's 64. So I like just wrote out the numbers 65, 66, 67, 68, and put like the months according to it. So like June 2020,
Yeah.
July, August, September, October, November, December. And like went all the way up to 80. And so as I was like typing all these numbers, I was like, wow, like these are just like, because
Yeah, because when you put the number down, it gives you even more incentive to put something next to the number
exactly. It's
versus
like,
it's
wow,
just
I
the
wonder
bottom of the
what's gonna
list.
be like, what
Yeah.
that's gonna say. Like,
Well, and
it's just so exciting.
I love that. Like that's that next step, right? Like I said, like you've done an excellent job of figuring out what brings you joy, and then literally like dissecting how to best
Mm.
fit that in to whatever you're doing. Like I'm the same. I really love not like I love surprises. I love the unknown, and I think that there's so much world out there. So like I'll specifically take a route that I don't know to get to a place just because I've never taken that route, and that'll like it even though it's like really small, like everyone thinks that joy needs to be bitten off in these giant, like a shark bite, like just like, get in there and rip like this huge chunk of joy off of the
You can just be a
floating
little lick.
whale
You
joy
can just
carcass.
have
Yeah.
like
Instead, like, just be like a little remora that's next to a shark and just like snag little tiny bites, but a ton of them.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like the little
a
1
lot of
point
little
and 2
ones.
point,
They
like
count.
it adds up, like,
Wow, it really does.
because little things, like literally just, I could see your face as you just talked about, like, there's a bunch of empty numbers on my list and I don't know how I'm going to fill it. Like you could tell how much joy just that's like a 1 or 2 point, like it's just a little tiny nibble. But when you do that 10, 15, 20, 30 times a day and you start really developing those new routines after you find cues, you'll find that the reward is joy. And you get so addicted to it that you can't stop it, like at all. Like you just, like, sometimes like I'll be like bothered by like a fly or something, and then all of a sudden like something will kick in my brain, and just because I've done it so much where I'm like, all right, like this is pretty annoying, but why don't I think, like, a good way to find joy, at least for me anyways, just try and remove yourself as far as you can from the situation and picture how many things had to go exactly the way that they did so that this very moment happened exactly the way that it was happening, right? So
This
like
is
I'll be
all
sitting
orchestrated
outside
design.
and there's a fly that won't leave me alone or something, or like a mosquito, and I'm like, I literally, like, infinitely back you can trace a step until you literally are like dizzy. I'm just like, I literally, like, I woke up this morning at exactly when my alarm went off, but I actually snoozed it and I slept in a little bit more, and those extra couple of minutes of snuggling with Allie made me 9 minutes late to this little moment, which led me to this annoying mosquito. Like, that's pretty crazy. Like, anything is possible and every choice matters, and all of a sudden life seems so much more interesting and exciting again.
Yeah, joy, like, and honestly, I look at joy like you can't to experience joy. It's like there's only a couple moments I feel like where you're just overwhelmed with joy, where it's just
Yeah,
like,
those big
and
shark bite
yeah, and
moments.
those are
Yeah,
amazing, and you should have those like when you're getting married, like stuff
yeah,
like that. Those are big shark moments, but like the little ones, like that's really what it's all about, and like what makes up this big old like your whole aura of like just the little
yeah,
things, because you appreciate the little things. And like I was talking with my friend Rico today, like he's talking about Journey, and Mark said he was talking about
yeah,
like the biggest thing that I took away from Journey was that you shouldn't sweat the small stuff because it's all small stuff.
yeah,
And it's like, and how you're talking about like everything's like kind of what I took from that is that everything happens for a reason. Everything's kind of been set up for a reason. So just like accepting that and just like go, just instead of grinding, you're going with the flow. And that, I don't know, that also creates joy too. Like I always, when I think of joy, joy is synonymous with this guy Wayne that we would know.
yeah,
And like they describe him as like at the top he's like just swimming, like I don't know, he's like just
yeah. He's
chilling.
so wonderfully present. Is, I think, his real gift is that he is 100% present. Like, he feels all of his feelings and emotions. Like, I've watched him cry, I've watched
Yeah,
him celebrate, I've
exactly.
watched him
Being able
cry
to
with
feel
tears,
your emotions
and like
is
that was something
massive.
I learned from
That
Wayne.
part.
I never, like, I only met him once or twice, but like, I remember seeing him speak in front of literally, like, I think it was like 15,000 people, and in the moment, all of a sudden, his little girl was at this same conference, and she wanted to hang out with her dad, and like, that was a joy quota moment. He literally was just like, well, I guess I'm gonna hang out with my kid for a second, guys, hold on. And he like made, even just like, it was like 15 seconds to like play with her for just a second, and then obviously she wanted more, so he's like, all right, and he just carried her and like hung out with her while still doing his job,
Right, yeah.
still delivering. But all of a sudden, that little act of love and joy, like, it permeated everyone in the building. It was insane to watch. And
Yeah.
that's when, that was like one of the big moments for me when I realized, like, there's never a bad time for joy.
Mm.
Like, even like at a funeral or something that's inherently sad and like shitty, that's when you need it the most.
Right, yeah. You need to
And
reflect
like,
on the times when you were experiencing joy, because that's
yeah,
like it's those are their happy moments. Like hey.
Oh yeah, so yeah, that would be like that's like a dream of mine is to get to sit down with Wayne one day and have this conversation, even if it's
Have him on the
not for the
podcast.
even if it's not for the podcast. I would
Yeah, this would
that
be
would be
right up his
like the
alley. Be like,
dream,
yeah, let me go to
the
your
dream come true. Yeah, because
go fly down to Plano.
yeah, or like yeah, I remember one time he surprised me because of a mutual friend of ours that he needed to have a conversation with to like get some organizing and like planning done.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't realize that because he stole my buddy away, that he was missing out on a birthday party that I was throwing for my then girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And we had rented this party bus and it was this whole thing. And so Wayne felt bad. So he had us drive to where they were all meeting up. And then he paid for us to have the bus for the rest of the night and like came on and hung out with everybody for a
No
little
way.
bit.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like that's
wow,
what I mean.
that's
It's like
love,
this is a guy
bro.
who at the time of that particular encounter was like planning his fiscal year ahead of him to dominate and have his company reach $1 billion in sales for the first time in its entire history.
That's crazy.
And he's with all of his executives and like people in a crucial market. And he still was like, oh, there's a party bus? And he went down, you know, like,
you're so
yeah, like
I
that was
love
like the
him
first
so
time.
much. Shout out,
That was
man.
like, there's been a lot of moments where like seeing Wayne and like different other high powered individuals that I follow, like choose joy has never once led to them not being successful. And that's when I was like, man, this is such an important message. They're like, too many people think life is supposed to be this insane grind, and you'll literally miss out on all the joy.
You'll
like,
waste your life.
Like your brain doesn't want to be wrong. So if all day, every day, you're like, life is a grind, life is a grind, life is a grind. Literally, joy moments will show up in your life. Moments where you could just reach out and take a little nibble, and your brain will literally not see it because your brain hates being wrong. Yeah. Your blueprint that you tell yourself all the time is life is a grind, or like I'm not enough, or you know, life is supposed to be hard, or life's a bitch. That's everyone says that, right? And
yeah, or like you can't enjoy yourself till you actually reach your goal. Like
exactly,
I don't know,
but
like
there's always another goal, so then you'll never.
Yeah, like you don't.
Yeah,
like one of the best advice that I got from David Townsend, like one of my mentors,
shout out,
is that like you just gotta like stop focusing on the destination. Like if you're really committed to your goals and you know you're gonna be there one day, like all right, just chill out and like smell the roses and be present, be in the moment.
Yeah, because if you already know you're getting there,
like why are you stressed? Everything that like is gonna come your way, just know that you're gonna get over it. It's just an obstacle. Like you will get through like anything that comes your way. Like and just know that stuff is gonna come your way, and that's how like you won't let that steal you from your joy or rob you from that, because like you've already been prepared. You already know what's coming, and so you have that mindset of like, it's okay.
DT, he's pretty all right.
Yeah, he's not a bad guy.
Yeah, I love that guy. He married us. Yeah. Yeah. And like one last thing I wanted to bring. That's such a good point. You were joking around about Marcus Hetta earlier, or like saying something that you'd taken away from him. It's like, don't sweat the small stuff because it's all small stuff. One thing that I forget where I heard him say it, but he was like, either it was to the same tune of like, don't sweat the small stuff, but he's like, and what David said, like if you like merge them both, it was whatever your problem is, like you're gonna be fine, because either you're gonna die or it's gonna be okay. And odds are you're not gonna die, so it's gonna be okay. And if you do die, well then congratulations, because you don't have to worry about it anymore. So either way, it's gonna be fine. Just relax and you'll start finding solutions. And I was like, oh man, it's so perfect. Like
that's a good one.
Yeah, either it's gonna be okay or you're gonna die. And realistically, you can always step back and be like, well, I'm not gonna die. And then all of a sudden you're like, well then I guess I'm gonna be okay, I'm not gonna die. So there has to be some step between here and death. So I'm gonna have to make it. Like logically, it just like rewires your brain. Well, we've been chatting a while, and it's been so fun to have you on. Oh, thanks. And I've loved every second of this.
Thank you for having me. This has been a blessing.
We always end on the same question, which is, when you picture joy, what comes to mind. Like it does, whether it's a moment, whether it's the definition, and this isn't,
Let me close my
and like it
eyes.
doesn't have to. Yeah, get in the zone. Like I'll
No.
get you there. So like just picture joy, whether it's the word joy, whether it's the feeling of joy, whether it's the experience of it, or the purpose, whatever comes to mind. This is just for you. It doesn't even have to be a good story or like inspirational. This is a selfish moment for you. Just picture
soaking
joy,
in
like
my
it,
joy right now.
like just picture it, and then just what's there.
Okay, if I have to explain what I see white sand beaches. I see a friendly bartender.
Yeah.
I see just all my best friends on the beach having a good time. Everybody is just like we're just vibing. Everyone's like enjoying life. Sorry, I
No, that's
zoned
what's
out.
up. Yeah,
I
no,
didn't see
that's
where the
perfect.
microphone was.
Yeah.
But all right, back to life. Back to
Yeah.
reality.
Well, thank you so much, man.
Ah,
This has been
man,
incredible. Seriously, Moises, you're the best. Thank you
thanks
so
for having
much.
me.
And yeah, everyone, please share this around because he is such a little nugget of joy, and he's got a lot of it to share. So just share this around.
Yes.
Pass it to your friends if you like the podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Yes. Get some more joy in your life. Let's get it. Thanks for having me. We out.